Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear and see me. Maybe the internet connection is not so good. So for the first 30 minutes during Zazen, it's not so important. But later during my Dharma talk, if you have trouble hearing my voice or if there's problem with the video, please tell me maybe by chat or directly. Before we sit, maybe I can make a little commercial because my very first book in German came out in English translation. So for those who didn't know, well, I didn't know a couple of days ago. So I just learned about it from the translator. You can't buy it in print, but it can be bought as an ebook. The German version came originally 2007. It came out, so it's 2 decades old. I wrote it when I was still the abbot of Antaiji, but I don't know. Those of you who until now didn't have the chance to read a book by me because you don't speak German or Japanese, now would be an opportunity. And as I'm in the process of making commercials, it's a little bit early, but maybe it can also make commercials for those of you who want to do Japan and participate in a retreat in Antaiji. Antaiji organizes 3 retreats where you can experience the life at Antaiji. One is in May, one in July, and then the session in November. You find the information on the website. And also Xuan, who is hosting us here, is organizing another retreat at Antaiji this year for the first time in April. Next year it's gonna be in late May, early June. And you find the information on the Antaiji website. If you click on the stay menu, the yoga and Zen retreat. Actually on the website itself there's not so much information, but if you click on this link you find the information on Xuan's website. So it's May 29 until June 2nd next year. Still quite some time ahead, but if you're in the process of making plans for next year, in May, early May, there's the Antaiji rice planting retreat, and then late May, early June is a retreat, yoga and Zen together. And today I will talk about Sawaki Roshi's quotes to you. Actually, in my English book, I use a lot of these quotes in my English book as well. But before I talk more, let's sit together for 30 minutes as always. Thank you for joining again this week, or those of you that are here for the first time, welcome. Every Monday at this time, we sit together for 30 minutes, and every 2 weeks I talk about Suzuki Shunyu's Zen mind, beginner's mind, and the other weeks I talk about Sawaki Roshi's To You. So today is one of those Mondays where I talk about Sawaki Roshi's quotes. For those of you who have the printed version, I'm at the bottom of page 63. The quote starts with the words, "Recently, we've been experiencing here a Zen boom." I'm not quite sure if that's a quote from the 1950s or 1960s. Interestingly, at the same time when there was the first Zen boom in America, the beatnik generation and then later the hippies read D.T. Suzuki and they became interested in Zen, and they became the first students of also Suzuki Shunryu at the San Francisco Zen Center. At the same time, there was also a Zen boom in Japan, about 10 years or so after the war ended, I would say. And Sawaki Roshi and his talks and the session he gave were maybe a part of that. But also, which was also very strong in America, the lineage of, for example, Philip Kapleau, Three Pillars of Zen, or Yasutani Roshi, who was his teacher. And they had a very strong emphasis, although they were Soto, they came from the Soto lineage, very strong emphasis of having a kenshō experience. And that at that time, when Sawaki Roshi was kind of getting older, he was in his 70s, 80s, became very popular, obviously, not only in the West, but also in Japan. So that's what he's referring to when he's talking about the Zen boom. Recently, we've been experiencing here a Zen boom. In every magazine, there's something written about Zen. But when you read it, you only find a bunch of strange ideas. Some write about what they picked up somewhere second-hand. Some give an account of a one-week seminar with guaranteed kenshō. I think it's already a decade ago where an American teacher, Genpo Roshi, people called him, he gave these big mind seminars, and people were promised that they would have the state of mind of a Zen master by lunchtime. But obviously, Genpo Roshi was not the first one who had this idea. Even in Japan, 60, 70 years ago, they had these one-week seminars with guaranteed kenshō. The problem is that people who have never heard anything about Zen can be misled by such nonsense. So you pay a lot of money to participate in a retreat with a guaranteed kenshō afterwards. That's why Sawaki Roshi says Zazen is good for nothing. And also, I did a commercial for the retreats at Antaiji before this started. But if you go to the website, you will also see that Antaiji says, don't expect anything here. You only have life in the fields, working in the fields, sitting on the cushion, staring at the wall, but you won't even get enlightened. You get nothing from that. And the point of that is, of course, what I always call taking a break from the game. If you do Zazen with the hope of getting something, finally, that big kenshō experience, Satori, enlightenment, finally, I will also be a Buddha. Maybe if I do this for 3 or 5 years, I can be my own Zen teacher and have students. Something is going wrong there. You're playing the game. You're still playing the game. and Zen means stop playing the game. And that's why Sawaki Roshi says Zen is good for nothing. And as I said before, I'm going to say at the end, of course, all of us here that participate in this group every week, we know that Zazen is good for something. It changes us. It gives us, how do you say? Some would say stability, some would say peace of mind. It's a way to take a break from the game, and then when you return to the game again, after you get up from the cushion, maybe you have a little bit, you feel a little bit more inner space. It enables you to be more playful in the game. Maybe you count less the points you gained, the points you lost, and are a little bit more able to just enjoy the game for the sake of the game. It becomes more like a childish game, the kind of the games that 3 or 4-year-olds play. It's not about winning or losing at that time so much. It's more about just having fun. So Zen is not about getting kenshō experiences. You don't have to experience the state of mind of a Zen master by lunchtime. And exactly at that moment where you say, I don't care about being a kenshōs and satori's. That's the childlike state of a Buddha. That's the beginner's mind that Shunryu Suzuki is talking about. It's not the mind that says, I already had 2 kenshōs. Now I want a real satori. That's not beginner's mind. Anyway, let me read the next one. It's quite short. If you don't have a clear Buddhist approach to life, it would be better if you kept away from Zazen practice. I found this a little bit confusing or thought-provoking. If you don't have a clear Buddhist approach to life, it would be better if you kept away from Zazen practice. The reason I thought this a little bit confusing or thought-provoking is because when people ask me, and sometimes that happens, how to become a Buddhist? What do I have to commit to become a Buddhist? What do Buddhists believe in? My standard answer is, don't ask me, ask a Buddhist. Because of course I'm an ordained Soto priest, so I'm officially a Buddhist. But for me, my reason to come to Japan, my reason to go to Antaiji and practice Zen there was never that I wanted to become a Buddhist. It's not that I compared Christianity and Islam and Buddhism and I decided Buddhism is best for me. I go with Buddhism. What the Buddha teach is the best. But it sort of came with a package. After staying for a couple of years in Antaiji, it seemed to make sense that I ordained there. So that's how I became a Buddhist. But for me, kind of the Buddhist aspect of Zen was never in the foreground. But here, for some reason, Sawaki Roshi says, you need this clear Buddhist approach to life. Otherwise, you should rather stay away from Zen practice. I don't know what Sawaki Roshi would have said if he had known about secular Buddhism, I think it's called. Stephen Batchelor is the maybe most prominent name in American, who is propagating secular Buddhism. Basically a form of Buddhism where you don't have to believe in rebirth, you don't have to believe in this or that Buddha. It's basically that it's about you being mindful, developing compassion for all living beings, but the whole religious part is missing. I don't know what Sawaki Roshi would have said about it. And actually, I don't know enough to say anything informed about it. But I feel a little bit the danger with this non-religious form of mindfulness that it becomes a part of the game. You practice mindfulness to reduce your stress at the workplace. And meditating thus helps you to be more efficient. And maybe it also helps you with the problems that you had at home. So it's kind of a little bit like a replacement or an addition to your psychotherapy sessions. You do your psychotherapy sessions, but after you started meditating, your mental state improves even better. And there's nothing wrong with that, except there's the danger that your practice becomes part of the game. So when I read this quote, Sawaki Roshi saying, if you don't have a clear Buddhist approach to life, and the Buddhist approach to life, in my view, is take a break from the game. It's not about winning or losing. It's not about collecting points. That's what the Buddha realized when he left the palace and decided he's not going to become the king. Although, of course, he could have become the king. He said, no, no, I quit that game. If you lack that attitude, it would be better if you kept away from Zen practice or mindfulness practice, because you will just make it into a tool to help you improve your game. And Zen is not a way to improve your game. Okay, there's one more quote in this chapter, but it's kind of long. So maybe I stop here and give you the opportunity to ask questions or share things that you want to share. Anything you would like to ask or share? If yes, now would be the time to do so.
Yes, I have something to ask and share. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
So, I would really love to talk a little bit more on that having clear Buddhist approach to life because for me it's surprisingly easy to say that I'm not quite about getting more points.
Mm.
Uh, But does it mean that I have nothing more? There is no room for improvement of my Buddhist practice in my life? I doubt so.
Mm.
So maybe there could be some practical advice on improving the Buddhist practice, although without aiming for more points. Can there be any way of improvement of a Buddhist practice without points?
Mm. It's hard to answer the question without knowing where you feel that things should be improved in your daily practice. So you're sitting regularly, but maybe you don't have the feeling that it's, how do you say, resonates in your daily life, or where do you feel maybe I should improve something?
Uh, I just think that I do not think about Buddha's teaching enough.
Mm.
So probably my attention way too often goes wherever it may go, although it might not be willing to get more points, but still I do not
Mm.
have all the time that what I might think the clear Buddhist approach to life is. So
Mm.
maybe start believing that what I'm doing is really important or this is the true reality. However, when I take a step back, including Zazen, it definitely gives this much clearer view, and I would love to have this clearer view more often.
Mm-hmm. In the beginning, you said maybe I should know a little bit more about the Buddhist teaching. Mm. And I'm not sure, maybe Sawaki Roshi means that you need to have a clear understanding of the Buddhist teachings, but actually I don't think so. At least in Antaiji, well, during the winter we studied for 3 months or so, but um, we never really did a basic course in what the Buddha taught. So for a long time, I knew there's the Four Noble Truths, and the first one is suffering. We all suffer. The second one, there's a reason for that. Um, Basically, it's our own greed, aversion, our ignorance. Number three, there's a way to reduce that. Number four, it's the Eightfold Path. But for a long time, I knew the Eightfold Path, but I couldn't get all eight together. And only recently, because people ask me again and again on YouTube about it, finally I got them all together. I've memorized them. But when it comes to the 12-fold chain of, how do you say, that things kind of in are coexisting, basically, interdependent origination, it's called in English. The 12-fold chain of interdependent origination, I couldn't tell you the 12, although that's really also a very basic teaching. And then when it comes to the content of the different sutras, I haven't really read them thoroughly. I often talk about the Shobo Genzo, but also I haven't read the whole Shobo Genzo. So I don't think that having a clear understanding of Buddhism means that you take a course on Buddhism at university or that you have to read through thick books, but more that you try to view things from the perspective of that young prince who decided to leave the palace. And after 6 years of ascetic practice, sat down under the Bodhi tree. I think that's what is meant with Buddhist perspective. So not the perspective of Buddhism, which is one religion among others, but the perspective of the Buddha himself. You take the perspective of the Buddha and not of the hamster in the hamster wheel. The hamster that heard that Steve Jobs did Zen, so I want to try it out. At Google, they do mindfulness seminars, so I also want to do these mindfulness seminars too, so that I can run faster in the hamster wheel. That's not a Buddhist perspective. So at least that's my understanding. You need the perspective of that young prince who was the first 2,500 years ago to walk this path or to quit the game. Or maybe he was not the first, but basically that's how we heard about this method or this other option to lead your life. At least, well, that's how I understand it.
But this
So my really theoretical understanding of Buddhism is really, really small. If you ask a scholar at university, they probably laugh about Muho. He has no understanding of Buddhism. But when it comes to the Buddhist approach as kind of looking at life, I would say, at least I try, or at least I feel like I understand how that young prince felt at the time.
I'm so sorry. I will allow myself to ask another question.
Yes, please.
What you're saying now sounds kind of brutal to me,
Hmm.
because if I take the perspective of young prince, I
Yes,
immediately write my resignation paper, or even do not write it. I just do not go to my job anymore. I give my cats to, I don't know, my now former girlfriend, and immediately go straight to the mountains. So this is the way to, leave the palace, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Do you mean this?
Well, that's the radical option, but of course, I mean, that's not the only option. there's also the layperson's option. And of course, the difficult thing about the difficult thing about the radical option is what you just said. You resign from your job, you give your cats away, you separate from your girlfriend, and that's a hard thing to do, but it's possible as a layperson. The Buddha himself said you can practice as a layperson. There's many examples of people doing it a layperson, and I'm basically here in Osaka living a layperson's life, although I'm still officially an ordained Soto monk. But it's possible, but you have to make compromises. But there's nothing wrong with that, except that, well, the game is easier if you go to Antaiji. You don't have to file for any taxes also. You don't have to do your taxes at the end of the year. You don't have to pay any bills. The only thing is you sit and you care for the vegetable and the rice fields. And the game in this world is much more complicated, which is not essentially a bad thing, because simple games can be boring. But, well, I'm not telling you quit your job, leave your girlfriend, and give your cats away. That's also one option. That's one option. That means that you become a monk and go to the monastery for 3, 5, 10 years. It's also an option, but it's not the only option. The other option is to integrate it into your layperson's life. And sometimes it can be complicated, but it's possible. It's possible. But again, to find out about these possibilities, or to find out to do that in a concrete way, um, I think you find not so much like of course you can read through the whole Pali Canon, and there the Buddha also gives advice to lay people. But I think it's less about now studying the Buddhist teaching so that you can somehow implement that into your lay life, but rather, well, you cannot leave home as the Buddha did. You don't want to do that, but you share that perspective. You say, I'm gonna live with my girlfriend, with my cats, at the job, but still, I don't want to be a slave in the game, but rather play the game playful. And talking about the Buddha, after he saw the morning star under the Bodhi tree, I mean, his wife and his son became his students. He shared the teaching with many people. So, in a way, he returned in that way to the world. And at one point, his students didn't have enough to eat, so he had also to share our basic worries. What am my students are going to eat during this practice period, 90 days? We don't have enough to eat. What are we going to do? So it's not that the Buddha was completely, how do you say, foreign to these kind of worldly, secular worries. Anything else that you would like to ask or share?
I just wanted to follow up on that idea, if it's okay. I mean, I think even if you go the route of becoming a monk, you still have to draw. I think Muho kind of said that, but you have to draw the line. Like, I mean, you have to have a robe or a bowl. Like the Theravada monks cannot have a bank account. Maybe in Japan, you can maybe have a bank account. So, like, you could go, you have to still find a balance, even if you go very far and become a very strict monk. So somewhere you have to draw the line.
Yes.
Can I also say something
Yes,
still?
please. Yes,
Okay.
please.
It's so interesting because this, yeah, to not become the king, to decide to not become the king, it's so interesting because I find that for every one of us, it means, it's so simple words, but it means so different things. To me, right now in my life situation, I'm living in a foreign country because I wanted to fulfill my dream of living here. I dreamt so long about it, but it is a complete fail because I didn't find anything of what I came here, and so I decided to go back to my home country. And for me, this idea of deciding to not become the king is to see to like let my ego go. Like my ego wanted to be that person, that girl that lives the life here, that adopts the language, that has friends here, that has a job here, but to say, okay, I'm not becoming the queen. I'm just, yeah, I'm not doing it for the points, or I have one friend more, I have a relationship. I'm just okay. Like for me, it's that, like to leave my ego in this moment.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think we all have the idea that we are kind of the main character in the movie, and also we write the script and we are the directors and the producers of our own movie. And the movie, of course, means our life. And not becoming the queen or the king is kind of the realization, oh no, this movie is not about me alone. And I cannot write the script alone. And also, I'm not the director and the producer of this movie. There's so many other factors involved in here. But I still can enjoy the movie, even if it's not about me. And even if I cannot rewrite the script, I can still enjoy this movie. Yeah. Okay, I think Wolfgang raised his finger.
Yes. Hello, Mo.
Hello.
My question. I got another calligraphy from Socho Suzuki, and I I do not know what it means. Maybe you can translate it for me.
Yeah, so the first character looks like T. Cha, cha, ichi, cha, ichi. Schwanza, can you read this? The first one is T, isn't it?
It looks
I don't
like
know.
a T. I don't know.
So even for Asians, it's not so easy. Oh, maybe Yuta-san? Yuta-san, can you read this?
Hello, I am Japanese, but I have no idea what that means.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm
That's super.
always glad when I meet other people that also have no clue.
Okay, this was Socho Suzuki. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard. And today, like now on the iPhone, they have like apps for everything. Like you hold it to a tree and the app tells you what tree it is. But I haven't found an app for calligraphy yet. It would be nice to have something you point the camera at the calligraphy and it tells you that means this. But for some reason, I haven't found it yet. So it's really difficult. Or maybe they have trained AI not good enough yet. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, ChatGPT can tell you, but I think ChatGPT at this point won't tell you what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
is that from a famous Zen master?
This was Sawaki Kodo Roshi. He died 1992 from Ryotakuchi.
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah. He was a Rinzai master. He lived in Israel
Yeah,
for a time. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. Sorry, we can't help you.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. So it's 2 minutes past 9 o'clock here in Japan. Do you have any urgent questions? If not, I'm going to be back here in a week. Next Monday, it's going to be about Zen mind, beginner's mind, and I hope to see you again then. If you still have questions, you can ask them next Monday. If you didn't know about my English book, please check it out or check out the Untitled website, and maybe you want to go to Schwann's retreat there next year at the end of May. So thank you everybody for joining. Thank you to Schwann for hosting us, and hoping to see you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.